I'm just here taking in the sun.
I'm sort of confused as to how the money gets to the people without it going via Hamas, but okay, this is the one that I found I had to complain to Oxfam about. So on this one, it's their Red Line for Gaza campaign, and it says killing civilians is a red line, starving people is a red line, targeting children is a red line, killing aid workers is a red line, and erasing a people is a red line. Well, this is absolute outrageous nonsense.
We've got a Christian evangelist over here. So we have a single store here trying to make lots of money, but nobody's going to turn up. So there's usually a pro-Palestine march, but they said we're not doing a pro-Palestine march this week because it's a women's feminist march. Save the women! Save the women. And then I heard yesterday that it had been cancelled. So not everybody clearly has got the memo. Hayden's just wandering down. Here he is. You leave that schmeckle where it is. You're looking a bit lost there, Pat, today. You're just here hobnobbing with society.
I'm just here taking in the sun.
Now you're being taken out of the sun, are you?
The only reason I knew
Get back to proper work.
I looked on your thing and I realised you were here, so I thought I'd come and say hello.
Yeah, I found out yesterday that it was pretty much cancelled, but clearly there's some people that haven't got the message. So you're just out here pretending to actually do some work, are you, Pat, today?
I'm doing lots of work, conversing with members of the public.
He's turned
I
up in
can
uniform.
see that. I can
He's turned
see
up in
that.
uniform.
Conversing with members of the public. That's what
Liaising,
I need to do.
liaising with members of the public. Is that?
Well, I've got a little story for you here.
Let's go and find some Hamas tunnels down here.
Molly's here, we've got Molly.
We got Molly. Oh, they've hidden them well here.
Now,
They've covered them up.
so I live near Moortown and I was out on my scooter about 4 or 5 days ago, and I decided to have a look around the charity shops. We've got quite a lot of charity shops, and I went into the Oxfam shop, and in the Oxfam shop there was this here, which is, I don't know if you can see it, it's a Gaza, raising money for Gaza.
Hang on, can you stand there and I'll...
That's better.
That's better. That's better.
Raising
So I want to see it on both. So this is for the live. Could you... Gaza crisis appeal. It looks like a green and red Kaaba.
And then, right.
Yeah, I don't know how well that comes through. And
Okay,
then
so
on that one.
the box at the till, which was that one, the square Gaza crisis appeal of Oxfam, don't have a problem with that. Okay, I'm sort of confused as to how the money gets to the people without it going via Hamas, but that's something that I have to, I'll just have to wonder, won't I? We're not really on a political
Didn't you ask
stage
them?
here. No, I didn't, but anyway. So then we went from that one, and then we went to another one here. So this is the other one. Then there's the Gaza crisis appeal. You can go on the internet and you can see what this says. Okay? So it's difficult in the sun. So I'm not expecting you to read what it says there. But it's another one.
Gaza crisis appeal, and then if I get that...
It's another one that has information. And once again, you can see that on the internet. Okay,
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to read the next one out to you. Okay. This is the one that I found I had to complain to Oxfam about. So on this one, it's their Red Line for Gaza campaign, their Red Line for Gaza campaign. And it says killing civilians is a red line, starving people is a red line, targeting children is a red line, killing aid workers is a red line, and erasing a people is a red line. Well, this is absolute outrageous nonsense. We know some people don't have a lot of food, and we know a lot of people are dying, okay? And I'd just like to put something in here while we're doing this. There are two things to consider when it comes to what's happening in Gaza: the destruction and the dead. A lot of people are young because there's 50% of the population there are youngsters. So inevitably, okay, because Hamas is working within these people, inevitably and sadly, innocents are going to die. It's unavoidable, okay? So the reason why people are dying is very different to how people are dying. So people are talking about how people are dying as if it's the reason, and it's not. They're two separate things. How people are dying are bombs dropping, like in any war, on the enemy, and it's killing innocent people. This happens in any war, and I'm sure you'll agree that if bombs drop on Hamas and there are people around them, the innocent people are going to die. Okay? That's how. The reason is completely different, but it is the salient point. The reason for the destruction of the deaths is 100% the actions of Hamas. 100%. Because if Hamas didn't do what they did and wasn't doing what they're doing now, all of Gaza would be there and all the people would be alive. It's as simple as that. So there's two things here. The salient point is the reason. How it's happening is not the salient point. That's just how it's happening. But the reason is 100% Hamas's fault. Now, getting back to this one here, the one I just read you out, okay?
Let's go through those claims one by one.
Okay, so let's go through these claims.
What's the first one?
So, killing civilians is a red line.
Well,
killing civilians is a red line, okay.
So, killing civilians, they've got a problem with killing civilians. And yes, everybody has a problem with dead civilians. Mm-hmm. Civilians who die, but in every war, civilians die. Exactly. I believe 1,200 died in Israel on the 7th of October, and then another 250 were taken over to Gaza, and they have been tortured ever since.
Okay, so could I ask you a question? What the thing is, right, is that civilians are dying, and it's terrible. And to be quite honest, I say this as carefully as possible. In the space of how many months now? Nearly 2 years, isn't it? Nearly 2 years. If you look at the destruction in Gaza, okay, and the amount of people that are actually dead, and remember, they never tell you of the 50, 60,000 claimed to be dead. They never tell you how many. Not even the mainstream media tell you how many are Hamas, because they don't want you to know. Because if you knew that a third were terrorists, it would be a lot harder to come out and complain, because it would prove that Israel is targeting terrorists.
I'd say it's higher than that. I would say that given that people have started saying ex-Hamas people based in Egypt and
so you think there's
elsewhere,
more terrorists dead?
They have been claiming between 80% and 95% of the Hamas leadership has been annihilated and removed, which means that a hell of a lot of those deaths were extremely targeted, definitely taking out Hamas terrorists, and are now leading to a change in Gaza to do with lots of different clans trying to vie for control.
An Israeli representative was challenged on the I think it was the BBC, it could have been Sky, one or the other, and they said, how do you know if you don't know how many civilians are dead, how can you possibly know how many terrorists are dead? So he thought for 2 or 3 seconds and he said, because we're targeting the terrorists, so we know who are dead. We're not targeting the civilians, so we don't know who's there. So how can they possibly know how many civilians have died? Now, there's a lot of reports, they've even said, even the BBC and Sky have said, well, they're the only figures that we have from Hamas, so we go with that. Well, I mean, that's just embarrassing.
The separate bit is, how would you record a Hamas fighter? They do not wear uniform.
Correct.
They practice perfidy. They pretend that they are civilians. They are journalists. They are aid workers. They are doctors and nurses. They are lawyers and
They're both.
judges.
They can be both.
They are all of these things.
Yeah.
And we know journalists have been housing hostages, and innocent civilians, in quotes, have been housing the hostages.
This is true.
Hiding them.
And they can
So
be. They can
the
be
question is,
part-time
who is
civilians.
innocent?
Well, they could be part-time civilians and part-time terrorists. So how do you combat that?
And who is innocent?
And who is innocent?
So
Let's go on
innocent
to the second
civilians
one.
is a very difficult concept. So the
Yes.
second,
Okay. The second one is
claim,
starving people is a red line. Now, 1.8 million tons of food going in. Okay, nobody that wanted to commit a genocide would expect people to move to another area. Okay. And would over the period of time, we know it's less now while they organise the new way of feeding people, but who committing a genocide would give 1.8 million tons of food? In fact, I'll go as far as to say that without the aid from Israel and whoever has been helping Israel, without that aid, everybody would have been dead a year ago.
I'm going to go back to the original foundations of it. The original foundations were that Israel was supplying the United Nations, UNRWA, people with all of the aid that was required to be given to the Gazans up until I think it was March. So 18 months while a war was going on, Israel was providing full aid that was able to maintain and keep people at something like 3,500 calories per day per person, which is more than I take in. And in doing that, they gave the stuff to UNRWA, who then did not distribute it safely and allowed Hamas to steal it all and then take it away from the civilians
and then sell it
at a very high price. So the UN then complains about the way that this Gaza Health Foundation is actually doing stuff. This woman, Albanese,
yes,
what a pain in the arse she is. What a propagandist.
Well, she's been paid.
It's like
to lie.
She absolutely is. Or she's just an ideological little turd. So there is I'm
glad I didn't have to use
March.
that word.
So in March of this year, Israel turned round after the ceasefire had ended, and they said, "We're not doing this anymore. We are not going to feed the terrorists and maintain them,
or give the terrorists products to sell,
and maintain their ability to buy munitions. We are going to make sure that we feed
But none
the
of this is
people."
ever challenged.
I know it's not challenged.
By any of the mainstream media, by any of them.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you something, Piers Morgan, I was watching a program with Piers Morgan this morning, and it was an Israeli representative, beautifully dressed, very handsome, very sure of himself, and I didn't have a problem with that because what he was saying was the truth, right? And he was talking
Why is there a black bag there left by... I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't touch it, Hayden.
Empty.
Hayden's trying to ruin his stuff here. He knows that he can't get it through that little hole, so he's still trying to pull it through the little hole.
You know it's not possible for me to get it through a little hole. How embarrassing when you're on mainstream TV.
Well,
Anyway,
yes.
starting again. That was a very stupid thing that I did there. Don't do that. I've seen a number of things being left behind on Brigitte. I've been on Brigitte, coming back to this in a moment, where...
I have just found one of the biggest screws I've ever seen.
Yes.
It's about the size of a schmeckel.
About the size of a schmeckel. Well, not mine, that's for sure. Anyway, we won't go there. So, I've seen the charity people on Brigitte put things down way away from them and move off and leave it. And when you challenge, they say, well, it's okay. I say it's not okay.
I think I've got you in the wrong...
How do we know it's not a bomb? Anyway,
That's better.
Anyway, let's pull back to what we were talking about. And may we go on to the next one?
Well...
Or do you want to carry on from where you were?
What was it that you were saying before I noticed this thing?
We were talking about starving people as a red line, and I was talking. Yes, Piers Morgan. So this guy from Israel was really, I've never seen Piers Morgan be so angry and frustrated, because he said that this guy called him an anti-Semite. But what I think has happened is that the description that this man has read from a Twitter feed from, once again, I allege this, I don't know because I haven't seen it, but allegedly the guy from Israel has said, no, I didn't call you an anti-Semite, I was highlighting the things that you were saying, and that you were always having a go at Israel, more, not always, but a lot of the things when you were having a go at Israel, and the people you were having on your show, okay, and the things you had to say more time than not were anti-Israel. And he described it. He described it as he didn't. He said, "I didn't say you were anti-Semitic, but the way you were leading the show was anti-Semitic." So you'd have to go on the X Twitter to see the clarity of that, because I can't tell you exactly because I haven't had a look.
So there's a bunch of anti-Semitic tropes being given out by a bunch of people, including possibly Piers Morgan. Hang on. Could you just hold that for a second while I push her in?
Piers Morgan plays the game. Now,
oh, he does.
You cannot sit on the fence and play one side against the other and have your own vote. You cannot do that in this case without appearing to be anti-Semitic at times.
And there was a really interesting one that I saw recently. I think it was on Sahar TV, or it was on Tal the Travelling Clap. And it showed a lady from Israel, and it only gave her side of it, and she spoke for about 3 minutes, something like that. Piers Morgan was silent throughout the whole stuff. She gave a full history of it, and especially one of the key things that she said that I thought, wow, that's a really good point, was that the Palestine Liberation Organization was brought into being in 1964 by Yasser Arafat. In 1964, this was 3 years before the 6 Days War, Gaza was run and ruled by Egypt, and the West Bank was run and ruled by Jordan. What was the liberation that they were after? It can only be Israel, on the basis that they demanded that area is not a Jewish state and must be run by Arabs and have Arabs only. Just like every other Arab state, there are practically no Jews in any Arab state anywhere.
But there are 2 million in Israel. So this brings me to a point here. There's three things just before we go into the next one, if I may. Okay, and thank you. It's three things, right? Is it a genocide? Well, how can it be a genocide? How can it be a genocide? Well, you can say, oh, Israel's killing people and this and that. Once again, coming back to the point. Okay, how people are dying are from the Israeli bombs. Yes, who can deny that? But the why is the salient point. It's the why they're dying. Once you take the why out, then there's no reason for the how. Once you take the why out, there's no reason for the how. Think about it, everybody. Think about it. Now, we've gone through the genocide one, then apartheid. How can it be apartheid with 2 million Arab Muslims? I'm not saying that there are a few exceptions, but there may well be. But generally, the Arab Muslims have the same rights as the Israelis. So all that is a load of nonsense.
Exactly the same as here. And some people here claim that they do not have rights. And trans people claim we don't have the rights. And feminists claim we don't have the rights. And blah, blah, blah. And frankly, everybody in this country has exactly the same rights, and nobody is raised up above anybody else. So they have a good CV, don't they? Would you say that Israel has a good CV when it comes to accommodating other people? Christians as well, and Druze, and 2 million Arab Muslims. So how they're saying... I would say they sometimes go too far.
They possibly do.
With their liberalness.
Well, it's quite possible that they do, but I think that they're very strict with their checking people out, and I think
absolutely.
The security.
So the final thing, one person, one vote. Every single person has a vote as long as they're registered. Now, I don't know how many are not registered and are there illegally or whatever, but they've all got a vote. And they can vote their own people into the Knesset, and that has happened. And it's like, well, I know. Where is this thing?
An Arab was in the illegal person. He put 2 Jewish men in prison, didn't he? there was 2 Jewish men who were put in prison. And the judge was Arab.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So let me just.
Classic. It's classic projection by these people. Israel is the most, and I think they do it on purpose, and they demand that they protect this stuff so that they've got the evidence. They are the most democratic country that follows international rules-based order and all of the international war-based
Do you think it's trendy that all these people, a few million of them, obviously there's 8.5 billion people in the world, right? How you doing? You all right, guys? Nice to see you. Hi, everybody. Hi. Hi. Thanks for bringing the sun with you. Thank you. Hi. Have a lovely afternoon. Hi. So do you think that all these people, after all, the way that the media against Israel talks, they say, the world is against Israel, and everything is the whole of Ireland is against Israel, or the whole of this is against Israel, the whole of this, that, and I think to myself, well, have they done a survey from everybody? Because I'm quite sure that it's a certain sector.
There was one. It was called the Eurovision Song Contest.
Exactly, and that was the people's vote, and that showed exactly where it was. So do you think these other people, coming back to the point, and thank you, do you think all these other people that come to these marches and the few million around the world, do you think they just think, well, it's trendy to scream,
No.
Free Palestine because everybody else screams it, so, well, not everybody else,
it's part of
a
it.
Few million around the world, not everybody else.
It's part of it.
What's the other part?
The other part is they don't think critically. They're unable to get back to the foundations of what caused this, what started it.
Which brings me to a very important point, is that my energy that I'm using now, the energy I'm using now comes from critical thinking. It's not passionate. Trust me, if Israel had done something wrong, I would be the first to criticise. And I'm sure things have gone wrong, and some people have done things wrong, and of course that will have to be dealt with correctly. But I don't have this energy because I'm passionate about Israel. I have this energy because my energy is created from critical thinking and logic. I still want
to know why Netanyahu's father or grandfather changed his name. And I would be interested to know whether Netanyahu seriously believes that he is the next coming of King David. Because he does, but he's a politician. And it's like, all right, I don't give a shit about politicians. I give a shit about the country and the people. I hate death. Right, let me just tell you now, all these people on the marches, yes, I have a go at them without being threatening. All the invisible people on today's march. They're not here today, but the people that come to the marches, right, I don't swear, threaten or insult, but I do try and put them in the place. But if one of them was in the river drowning, I'd jump in to save them. Do you understand? I don't hate them, I just don't like what they have to say, because I know that most of it is nonsense. Well, it's not just nonsense. It's dangerous nonsense. It is promotion of genocide, it is promotion of ethnic cleansing against Israel. Always has been from the beginning, always been part of the Hamas Charter. They are following the Hamas principle of they want the annihilation of a peoples, the annihilation of a religion, and the removal of that nation from their area, so that the main colonialists of the last 1400 years can get back the land that they lost after having been colonialists. And
well, they talk about it goes back to 1948 when Israel was given, took the land, who actually got it legally. I mean, you could go back thousands of years. Israel, the Jews have been kicked out for thousands of years and have fought their way back. So let me go on to this next. Forgive me, I'm not being rude. It's just that I have to be at the boat to pick up the air conditioner. So, I'm going to come with you. I'm going to nick your air conditioner. Targeting children is a red line. You see the word targeting. Do you see how targeting children? So what's happening here with all this rhetoric that's going around is they are giving an anti-Israel what's the word I'm trying to look for? Intonation. People tend to believe the intonation rather than critically think the content. Do you understand?
Especially if it comes from an organisation like Oxfam.
Exactly, which
That's
I'll
where the
come
problem
to
is.
in about 3 minutes. So the targeting children, it's very much assuming that Israel is targeting children.
Absolutely.
But
Yep.
they're not.
Nope.
They're targeting Hamas,
Yep.
and children are dying. One of
Yep.
the reasons children are dying is because in the area, and the other reason more children are dying than normal is because 50% of the population are children.
I want to
That's
define children
why.
now. I want to define children, and I want to put some more nuance onto it. Children is anybody up to the age of 18, and we know that Hamas use children as soldiers, and most of the children from probably mid-teenage onwards, 15, 16, 17, they're quite happily being masculine men, with high levels of testosterone and high levels of hormones flowing through their teenage bodies. And then there's the younger ones who just go, I'm breaking boundaries here and I want to piss people off. Which is no different from any teenager across the world. That's what they're like. I was like that. So,
Let me go into this other one here. We've 2 more to go, and then we'll get on to
so
the
a lot of
Oxfam.
these children are actually soldiers.
Yes,
they
absolutely.
are threats. They are threats.
Absolutely.
And
Killing aid workers is a red line. Well, aid workers and aid workers, if there are aid workers there, and there are also journalists there, which there are, okay, I'm sorry to have to say it, but if you're going to be in a dangerous area, you might get killed. I'm trying not to just make that sound because it's terrible, but if you put yourself in a war zone, something like this, the chances are you're going to get killed. So there's no point that the media and social media, everybody says, oh, you've killed. They are in a war zone. It's going to happen. It's unavoidable. The people dying is unavoidable. What could stop it? Israel. Okay. Hamas got back. How many prisoners did they get back? That they released?
1,000 each time, something
Each time,
like
about
that.
3,000. Okay. So they did October the 7th.
I don't remember the numbers.
They did October the 7th. They got thousands of prisoners back. Okay. About a year ago, round about that.
And
why could they not? Let me just say this. Why could they not then have released the prisoners? What would it have cost them to release the prisoners and make this go in the right direction and save lots and lots, thousands and thousands
Release
of
the hostages.
Palestinians? Release the hostages. They could have done it then, and they didn't.
Well,
So they
there is an
prolonged
answer
the
to
war.
that. There's a clear answer to that, and then there's the Israel response to it.
Oh, I know. They don't want to lose
So-
the manipulation, do they?
No. So the prisoners who were taken into prison by Israel for criminal purposes or for terrorist purposes, they get returned so they can become fighters for Hamas. That gives Hamas an advantage.
And then already.
But then, Israel's response is, well, we're targeting Hamas. They'll probably put a chip in each of them somewhere along the lines, and it's like, here we go. Here's where they're all coming together. Boom.
But my point
So they're
on
able
this,
to get them
I
back.
understand what you're saying, but my point is, forgive me, I wasn't actually saying that. What I was saying was, why, after all this had happened, October the 7th, the prisoners being given back to Hamas, surely after that then they could have released the rest of the hostages, the Israeli hostages, okay? But they stop and at least put a stop on the war and saved for however long and saved lots of lives. Instead, they chose to keep the hostages and cause the deaths of thousands more of their own people.
Well, I can't claim to understand the reasons why Hamas do anything. But in this regard, if I was to look at it from a rational perspective, the hostages are their ability to keep this war going.
Exactly.
And it is.
I was asking you why. I already knew the answer.
Yeah,
but I was still asking
and
you
it's
why.
their ability to have some kind of leverage.
Let me come on to the final one. Erasing the people is a red line. Erasing a people.
Well, I mean, they haven't been erased, full stop.
It's
I mean, they have
absolutely
grown.
ridiculous.
They have grown.
Erasing a people.
The majority of them, vast majority of them, are Egyptians or Jordans or Lebanese. They are Arabs.
Because they come from Egypt and Jordan.
Yeah, they are Arabs. So there is not an erasing of Arabs. There is a smashing up of the place where they live in order to ruin the tunnels, find the hostages, erase Hamas, and give the Gazan people a chance to change their ways. To go, we will work with Israel, we won't hate them, and over time, and it will be quite a long amount of time, we will have a good relationship with them. And we'll still have borders.
Hamas can't be in charge.
Hamas can't be in charge, and nobody with the same hate-filled rhetoric as Hamas can be in charge, and they've got to change their culture in order to do that.
Let me come to the charity shop Oxfam. Now, how Oxfam behaves on the internet, in the UN, wherever they are in a political space, we may not like what they say. Now, this is very important. We may not like what they have to say, but in a certain place, they are allowed to say it. Are you with me? Okay. In a charity shop, and this has been confirmed to me, you cannot put propaganda like this in a charity shop. It is not allowed. Do you understand?
Because it's a political perspective,
Exactly.
and charities must not be political.
Exactly.
Which is never, it is never upheld by the law, ever. And we know that from a lot of other, particularly religious charities that may well have a political bent to them.
Well, I
wonder which charities and religion that might be. Anyway, carry on.
Well, I contacted Oxfam, and I was emailed back by a very lovely lady from Oxfam who was extremely accommodating, very polite, very lovely. And she passed on my details to another department. And when I went a couple of days later, I think it was, have a look in the shop, they'd all three. I'm not sure about inside. I didn't look at the Gaza box that raises money. That wasn't. I was only concerned about the two posters, and they're gone. So
wow.
They've both been taken out. So
there you go. Success on a plate for Hayden, maybe.
Well, I contacted my colleagues. One of the main colleague, and who actually has had a meeting with Douglas Murray. So this person is very experienced, and we're now taking it to the next stage where we want Oxfam to take the posters out of all of their shops. So we're waiting to hear about that after the weekend.
Brilliant.
Thank you.